How to have fun, anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
And so what I discovered, Jack, is that I'm on a whole bunch of different podcasts that I don't recall ever having subscribed to. I'm on Spotify, Deezer, Google Podcasts. I'm on iHeart. I'm on a bunch of different places. I had no idea that I existed. And so do you find that's true with your show as well?
Yeah, I also use Spreaker as my primary distributor for the audio version of my podcast. And they recently got bought out by iHeart Media. But even before then, I used their thing to link me up with everything except one podcast service in India, which would be completely irrelevant, and Apple Podcasts. Mostly because while I'm physically in Australia, but for the sake of sponsors of my show and possible guests and so on, I still do it as if I'm in the United States. To register that, it was just a nightmare having to have an American number that's not active at the moment and then wanting to send confirmation links. And so Apple is the pretty much the only one, mainstream one, that I'm not on.
I found it very strange because I never signed up for any of that. So I had to ask myself, and I still, to this day, do not know the answer because I'm looking down towards my blog to see where I am. Okay, you can find me on Spreaker. Got it. I'm on iHeartRadio. Not sure exactly why, but you just provided the reason, I think, is because Spreaker is now owned by iHeart. I'm on Apple Podcasts. I'm on Google Podcasts. I'm on Deezer.com. I've never even been there. Podcast Addict, I'm there. Spotify's big, so it's nice that I'm there. That's great. Castbox, I'm on Castbox. And all of these, except for Spreaker or YouTube or Facebook, I never put myself there. I just think that's weird.
No, you will actually find. I'm pretty sure when I signed on with them, many of those were listed as part of the initial subscription deal when you signed up with Spreaker.
Really? Okay. I didn't know that. Well, that's good to know. All right. Cool. That's great. Hey, no complaints over here. Anybody that I happen to hit through listening through this, any additional ears are greatly desired. Because here comes...
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because here comes one of my all-time favorites right now.
The Bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com Chicago Death Toll Update. Courtesy of Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
And this comes courtesy of HeyJackass.com. That's right, HeyJackass.com, illustrating Chicago values, courtesy of Mayor Lori Lightfoot. What a great, great, great individual she is. So, in the HeyJackass.com shot clock, February to date, shot and killed 24, shot and wounded 61. Total shot 85, total homicides 24. Week in progress, February 13th to the 19th, shot and killed 1, shot and wounded 7, total shot 8, total homicides 1. Year to date, shot and killed 70, shot and wounded 243, total shot 313, total homicides 75. And so on the 2022 HeyJackass.com Chicago shot clock, a person is shot every 3 minutes and 27 seconds in Chicago, and a person is murdered every 14 minutes and 24 seconds in the lovely city of Chicago. Mayor Lightfoot, you should be so proud.
Creating Zeppelin's HeyJackass.com Chicago Death Toll Update. Courtesy of Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Just putting that into perspective, right? We've been on air now for 14 minutes. That means 4 people have been shot and 1 person has been murdered in the 14 minutes we've already been on air in Chicago.
I know, because if you average it out, that's the benefit of living in Chicago. What a great place to be. Well, I told Jack over the phone that we're going to hear some really stupid crap up front. I have a ton of audio to play for everyone tonight. And then we're going to go into some, I actually have some happy stories for tonight. And then we're going to break it down, the show generally, into 2 parts, talking about tyranny. The first portion of tyranny will deal with the United States. The second portion, which I hope I get to, will also deal with Canada. But from the very beginning, this is stuff you just shake your head at, really.
Tales from the You Can't Write This Shit department. Graciously presented by BZ here in the Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
And I play this because this is such an example of craziness going on. Let me turn down this. And, of course, I'm going to have to hit this again because nothing can be easy. And let me see if I can get it to play. Just makes me wonder if my internet is down. Okay. And, here we go. Here we go. Why am I not hearing her? Hey, Jack, something fell. I just thought I'd tell you. Something fell down. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what it is. Was it a glass? It sounded kind of like a glass.
Yeah, it was a plastic cup.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I think I got it. Here we go.
I have this one coworker who simply refuses to use the correct pronouns for me. I've called her out every time she misgenders me, and she just is resigned to not change. And today just broke something in me. I just snapped.
Okay, so this is a video, and one day I'll have video, but until then, I'm going to have to describe what you're not seeing. This is from TikTok, which is a China-controlled, let's say, audio streaming service where you can record videos. And for those of you who are playing your conservative shows on TikTok, you're basically creating ad revenue for China. Good on you for that, you morons. This is an actual grown adult, allegedly, who has a meltdown over being misgendered. Okay, if you're looking at this, she looks like a chick. She talks like a chick. She has no Adam's apple. Walk, talk, looks like a duck, blah, blah, blah. And now she is upset because someone at work has or is misgendering her. This is what passes for important crap in the United States of America in 2022.
I ended up yelling.
How to have fun, anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa Welcome Bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
At her after the 3rd time she misgendered me, and within 30 minutes, they, I use they, them pronouns. And she got so defensive. And I just started explaining to her, I'm sick and tired of this shit. You need to at least make an attempt. And she popped off, got upset, got defensive. What are you going to do about it? And I just said, I'm going to be really hurt and sad. That's all I can do about it. And the worst part is that at that point, my boss, who claims to be so woke and happy and joyous and making us safe.
Okay, I've had enough of that crap. Basically, the dealio is, folks, I have to be honest. In today's society, at least in the United States of America, I don't have time for your crap. I don't have time for your simplistic bullshit. Grow up, be an adult. you look like a her, you talk like a her, you're probably going to get addressed at her. Plus, I'd like to throw this, and I have left her name out because I'm not going to throw any more attention to this unit than is necessary. Have you ever thought, honey, that maybe you've misgendered her, your worker? Maybe that's not a her. Maybe it wants to be described as a guy. Everybody is different. You're woke. It's a nutty world. But speaking of a nutty world, here's 1 minute and 35 seconds of more absolute nuttiness. I think this got played on the TV once, but it's just over the top crazy. This is about animals.
The assumption that the best protein comes from corpses is a racist belief. How do you know the animal would have picked you to feed off their corpse? 21st century animal eating requires our complicity in a new colonialism.
Okay, so you're racist and you're a colonialist.
These events especially affect girls and young women. Your hamburger comes with a dose of misogyny.
Right. I'm not sure, Jack, if she's covered all the spectrums yet. Let's listen.
Popular culture is flooded with references to sexy cows, sexy pigs, sexy chickens, sexy fishes, who all just want to have fun. Meat eating is also one of the ways gender-based structures of oppression are perpetuated. Masculinity, a construct of the gender binary facing constant destabilization, feels always under threat, and eating animals is its protection racket.
Okay, I think this is in Ottawa. I'm not sure. I think this is in Canada. When I just came across this, and I didn't have time to backtrack it and find out where it came from, but it's somebody's parliament. Canada, I think, perhaps Britain, but it doesn't look like it's configured like the UK.
White supremacists weaponized it, eating meat, eggs, and dairy. And
okay, if you eat meat, eggs, and dairy, you're a white supremacist.
The baiting of liberal men as so-called soy boys are all
now that's true. That's funny.
All part of the neo-Nazi messaging.
And finally, they got tired of her crap and started laughing.
To say you care about animals is considered a sign of weakness in a world still committed to the gender binary. Meat eaters, like anti-abortionists, have forgotten that one quality of non-existence is not having awareness about existence. When all else fails, meat eaters assert that animals are not our equals. I heard all your laughter. I know some of these must be new ideas, or you think they're fringe or whatever. Our whiteness is part of the problem of meat eating.
No, it's not fringe. It's simply...
You're a loony.
Yeah, that's what it is. You're
a loony.
This is what passes for important crap today. Jack Alexander from leftists.
Yeah.
This...
I mean, when did we stop treating people for mental illness and their psychotic delusions? I mean, you know, the whole thing over picking what gender you are. I mean, yeah, let's turn out, you know, they keep telling us to, we've got to trust the science. Well, the science has been proven for many thousands of years. There are only 2 full genders, 3 if you want to go, want to include hermaphrodites. I mean, I'm happy to go to 3 genders, because, well, there are true hermaphrodites out there. But to go out and pick and choose and then complain when other people don't want to play into your delusion, into your mental illness.
Yes, your fantasy.
I mean, it's absolutely, look, I had a fantastic imagination growing up as a kid, but there's no way that my parents would play into any of those fantasies. No adult would have, going back 20 years ago. And I'm a little bit older than that. But
no,
just to completely screw up that Canadian member of Parliament, and that was Canadian. Now, if they want to believe in the evolution theory, then all of us came out of Africa. It's well documented that even the African tribes back then, even back then, hunted meat. So what the fire trucking hell does white supremacists have to do with it? If we came from Africa, where we were all black as a berry, then it's not white supremacists.
Exactly.
I mean, using their own pseudoscience, I've completely debunked her own argument.
Yes. We start the bell early tonight, folks. Well, let's take that unhingedness, I guess that's a word, and now apply it to Nancy Pelosi. This is 30 seconds of Nancy Pelosi saying that, you know what, Jack, you didn't know this, but you're about to be edumacated over it. Inflation is good.
Let's talk about the situation here at home. Families are feeling a hit from the highest inflation in 40 years right now, costing the average American family about $275 a month. What can Congress do right now to bring those costs down?
Well, let me just talk about the inflation thing, because people are saying, well, what we're spending is causing inflation. The fact that people have jobs always contributes to an increase in inflation, and that's a good thing. But inflation is not a good, we have to contain it.
Wages are not keeping up with prices.
That's right.
So that's Nancy Pelosi. This is a quote. The fact that people have jobs always contributes to an increase in inflation. Well, if people have always had jobs, why hasn't inflation absolutely exploded, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, etc.? These are the people.
Even go back 4 years ago under Trump when the best.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa Welcome Bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Employment numbers in America's history happened across all demographics. More people working, inflation went down.
Yes.
I think Nancy Pelosi is going for tenure at the Alexandria Occasionally Coherent School of Economics.
Oh, it's funny you should mention that, because right after this, I have a cut from her. Listen, Jack, there's only room in my head for one of us, and that's me. You'll have to take a ticket and wait in line. However, my point of all of this introduction tonight is to show you these are the people and the mindsets that are making the decisions for you today. And the bulk of you voted them in. And this is a cut from Biden telling you what he thinks about freedom.
About the inflation thing, because people are saying, well, what we're spending is causing inflation.
Hang on, let me start this over again.
Fill the stands again.
Let me back this up. Okay, here we go.
You were interviewed a year ago about the Super Bowl, and you expressed hope that come this year that they'd be able to fill the stands again with people. And that apparently is going to be the case. However, many of those people won't be wearing masks, despite the local law in Los Angeles. What is your message to people who want desperately for this to be over and to be able to resume the lives that they remember?
Well, look, I love how people talk about personal freedom.
Okay, let me stop right there. That was Joe Biden. That was a president of the United States. And I have never used the words president and Biden together, ever. And I never will. But that was a president of the United States saying, and this is a direct quote, this is his denigration of freedom, saying, I love how people talk about personal freedom. That wasn't made truthfully. That was made sarcastically. Now, Jack, Alexander, you love Texas. This is going to be the last cut that I'm going to play before the bottom of the hour break. And folks, you're in the Saloon. I'm BZ. That's Jack Alexander, who is here tonight to weigh in with all sorts of things with me. Jack would love to move to Texas. This is what AOC had to say recently about Texas.
Will happen. The only question is when, Texas. The only question is when. So the work that you put in today, the work that you put in tomorrow, the work
She said Texas will turn blue. It is inevitable.
that you put in on Monday, when you go one more door when you're tired, when you make one more call, when you feel exhausted, you're bringing that day one day sooner. One day sooner, one day faster. This state will turn blue. It's going to happen with the seat of San Antonio and Austin. It's going to spring down to Laredo. It's going to go up to Houston and to Dallas and to all across the state, rural and urban and suburban. We're going to fight for a living wage as a minimum wage. We're going to make sure we unionize the hell out of this state. We're going to make sure that we confront corrupt industries and lobbyists and big money. And we're going to make sure that not one dime is made exploitatively across any worker, especially the undocumented.
She means it. That's an individual. And be aware, folks, as I increasingly emphasize throughout my show, my job is to provide you information that you need to know that nobody else on the American Media Maggots, they will not willingly tell you. And my job on this show is to also emphasize, I'm going to tell you a lot of things that are not wonderful for conservatives, but I'm also going to tell you that all is not lost. All is not lost. If I can find it, when I come back, I'm going to play an audio cut that's remarkably similar to that. We're going to take a break if you have to empty your bladder or...
Just before we go,
sure.
Because of that, I can tell you wholeheartedly, hand on my heart, that Texas will secede, and by force of arms if necessary, before turning blue. There really is a very strong secessionist movement growing in Texas because they are sick of the leftist woke bullshit and the likes of AOC dictating, from New York, what should be going on in the Lone Star State.
Well, that's true.
It's never going to happen. And, with the gubernatorial election being so hotly contested on the side of conservatives, there's only Beto O'Rourke contesting it from the Liberals. And let's face it, he doesn't stand a hope in hell for Robert Francis O'Rourke.
Yeah, the fake Mexican.
Between Chad Prather and retired Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, Greg Abbott is in serious trouble, and if either of those men get up, the state will be so much better for it.
And so says Jack Alexander, so says BZ. BZ also says, maybe it's time to do this right now. I'll be right back. Don't you go anywhere.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, are you guys listening? This is Shannon from Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media. I know you've been wondering where we are and what's been going on. Well, folks, that's right. We're back. So please join us 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday on SHR Media, on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and Facebook Live at 11 a.m. on Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM at Facebook. You don't want to miss a minute. We've got lots of guests, lots of segments, and lots of interesting things. And let's face it, there's nowhere for you to go, so you might as well tune in.
Wow!
Again, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. We're back live on the air on SHR Media, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday, audio and Facebook Live, audio and video. Yes, we are going to do video. Facebook Live, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Hope to see you soon.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers. to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
Unleashed Jeremy Hansen, the most explosive pro-American podcast on the planet. Pro-MAGA, pro-Trump, pro-conservative. Come join the resistance. Fight for what really matters in America. 5 p.m. Central on UJHLive.com, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Pandora, or MAGABook.com. Come join the resistance and fight for America. Unleashed Jeremy Hansen.
Do you value yourself, your family, your friends? Want to know more about how to survive, thrive, and stay alive in these dynamic times? Listen to Around the Campfire with Kate, Thursday nights and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, only on PSN TV. That's Around the Campfire with Kate. News that nobody in the MSM wants to report. Remember, train hard, train smart to survive, thrive, and stay alive.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. I am back. You can listen to the show live and jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room by going to shrmedia.com. Once there, if you're on your phone or a tablet, go down to the bottom of the screen and hit View Web Version. View Web Version. From there, click on Listen Live Chat at the top, and you'll go right into the chat room. And you can create a name, be anonymous, create some kind of a wacky name, have fun, chat away. Now, you can follow me also on Twitter. I'm really active on Twitter, at least until I get my butt kicked out, at BZEP, at BZEP. Also, share the show tonight on Spreaker if you can, and share me a little bit later on Spotify, like I mentioned, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Google Podcasts, Deezer, and Castbox. And please, friend, follow and like the SHR Media Facebook page, if you would. Pretty please. That'd be nice. The phone line, singular, is open. I have a new phone line. There's a new number. It's in the chat room right now. That number is 575-208-4792. 575-208-4792. You'll hear the ring. It'll pick up. It'll answer. It'll say your name after the tone. Come on, make up a name. Make it good. Give your real name, and Google Voice will connect you to the show. And so I'll see it. I have to press a number on the keyboard to accept the show, to accept your call, and then we're off to the races. Okay, unless I insist that you hang up on yourself. Again, the number is 575-208-4792. 575-208-4792. Jack Alexander is with us tonight. Jack, welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
I said before I left that listening to AOC talk about, we're going to go here, we're going to go there, we're going to turn it blue, we're going to kick Texas's butt, we're going to turn it blue, made me remember this from 2004. Howard Dean. Anybody remember Howard Dean? Because I do. And he said this.
Well, you guys, you have already got the picture here. I was about to say, I'm sure there's some disappointed people here. You know what? You know something?
Here he goes.
You know something?
Here he goes.
If you had told us 1 year ago that we were going to come in third in Iowa, we would have given anything for that. And you know something?
Here it goes.
You know something? Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Tom Harkin, we're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
By the way, Howard, what'd you say?
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
What was it?
Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
Good old Howard Dean, good for a laugh now and then. This isn't funny because these are the philosophies and the policies that are killing people in America. This is from the Jerusalem Post. BLM activist charged in murder attempt of Jewish mayoral candidate. A man named Quintez Brown, a local political activist, allegedly attempted a shooting attack on Craig Greenberg, a Jewish Demorat running for mayor in Louisville. So a BLM activist shoots a Demorat, only he's a Jew. He's still a Demorat. I guess that makes the big difference. Louisville police have charged... I'm sorry, I screwed that up. It's Louisville. For those of you in the Ohio and Kentucky area, it's Louisville. Police have charged Quintez Brown, a local political activist. He's a big-time BLM dude, in a shooting attack on Craig Greenberg, a Jewish Demorat running for mayor. Brown, 21, has been prominent in the city's civil rights activism, including Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, and previously worked for the Louisville Courier-Journal. Oh, he's a, air quote, journalist. He had recently announced to run for the city's municipal council. Well, that's what you get. What you get is crazy people doing crazy things. But I suggest this. Let's not talk about crazy people, at least not for a few stories. Let's talk about this right now.
It's time for happy stories and good times.
And this first one comes from Fox Business. It goes like this. Louisiana federal judge blocks key Biden climate change initiative. Biden signed this initiative on his first day in office. So a federal judge from Louisiana has halted a key climate change initiative from Joe Biden that he implemented shortly after becoming president last year in 2020. In a Friday ruling this past Friday, U.S. District Judge James Kane blocked Biden's January 2021 executive order that factored in the social cost of carbon emissions when creating rules regarding pollution. Here's another. This has a great portent. And this, Jack, I would like you weighing in on when I get through with this. As you know, since Trump hasn't been on Front Street, CNN has plummeted. CNN's ratings, well, let's put it this way. One of the reasons that leftists despise Joe Rogan is that one podcast, his, gets more hits per show than essentially any leftist news organization put together combined. MSNBC, CNBC, CBS, you name it, CNN, all combined together. CNN occasionally can't put more than 300,000 or 400,000 people together during a broadcast. And there's a reason then now that CNN is in the toilet and people are falling away left and right. Well, what you're not hearing...
How to have fun, anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa Welcome Bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
And again, I had to go to UK Media to make this discovery. This is from the UK Daily Mail. The headline is this: Is this the end of CNN's left-wing bias? Billionaire Trump donor, who is the largest shareholder of the network's new owner, Discovery. So stop. What happened is that the Discovery Network, which owns tons of other cable channels, has purchased or is going to purchase CNN. And they want to restore it to impartiality. So when people, here's what you weren't told, folks. When the American Media Maggots said that Jeff Zucker, including CNN, was removed, had to resign because of some relationship that he had with a girlfriend. By the way, Jeff Zucker isn't married, so if he wants to conduct a liaison with someone who likewise is not married but happens to work at CNN, that's not illegal. But that's what you were told was the reason for Jeff Zucker leaving CNN. To which I say, bullshit. Here's the deal. A guy named John Malone is the chairman of Liberty Media, Discovery's biggest shareholder. He donated $250K to Trump's inauguration, and he said things about wanting to restore CNN to impartial journalism after years of left-wing bias. So CNN's chief, Jeff Zucker, admitted that he had a relationship with a colleague, Allison Gollust, and Malone reportedly made it clear policies have to be followed. CNN is going to be folded into Discovery as part of a $43 billion deal. Zucker was supposed to stay in some capacity and even take a bigger role at Discovery, but now he's been cast off. And it's because Zucker and this other guy have not a really good, kind of a frosty relationship. So one of the main reasons, they had a relationship and Zucker's gone. But the biggest positive thing to be taken out of this is they're going to start rolling heads at CNN, which I suspect is one of the reasons that you haven't seen Rachel Maddow for some time. Jack Alexander, any thoughts on that?
Look, it'd be nice to see some changes there. I often thought, if I'd ever won, a big lottery, and I think $48 billion was way too much for the purchase of CNN. But I always thought that, if I was in a position to buy that network, I would make every one of those journalists stand up in front of a camera and apologize, not just to America, but to the world for their contemptuous, immoral, and depraved approach to journalism, and then can their asses.
Yeah. Go find a job.
You either, you can either get a full termination package by apologizing in front of the camera, or we'll just escort you out of the building by security now, and you get diddly squat.
Sure, just like other leftists. Sure, take a jab or get fired. Okay, admit you were wrong or get fired. It's a choice. This is America. You always have a choice. That's how it was conveyed to me.
It's not admit that you were wrong. It's actually admit that you were actively engaged in corrupting the news and corrupting the facts. I don't know about you, but if I got caught telling a lie as a kid growing up, I was forced to admit it to the person that I'd lied to. Whether it was a teacher doing, for not doing your homework or whatever. Those are sort of character building lessons. That's why my kids don't do it, because every time they try something, I tried it as a kid and I already got caught. So if I got caught, what hope did they have of doing that?
I think it bodes well.
And for far too long, and look, I don't want to see a free press go away, but there needs to be in our spectrum accountability for journalists and news outlets that deliberately taint the news, that give out misleading facts. Now, if you give out misleading facts in advertising, there are penalties for that.
You can be sued, certainly.
If you are a business owner and you give out misleading facts about a product, you can be sued. Now, that doesn't impede the freedom of those businesses to do anything. It holds them, they're still free to talk bullshit if they want. The difference is there needs to be accountability. If you are going to exercise your first right to free speech and a free press, there are, if you choose to exercise that right, you also are choosing to bear the consequences of that. If you are honest, you are truthful, you are transparent, the consequences of that is that you will probably gain better numbers in the ratings. If you choose to be deceitful, dishonest, and be the propaganda department for the domestic terrorist group that is known as the Democrat Party, then you need to be held accountable and punished, because when you choose to do the wrong thing, there are punishments that go along with that. You're still free to do the wrong thing, but you still have to bear the consequences of that. And that's one thing. In the 15 years I've been doing my show, I have always promoted the fact rights come with responsibilities. Choices are accompanied by consequences. That doesn't inhibit your freedom, but, maybe it's time that society in general needed to face a few more consequences if they're going to exercise their rights to be complete utter morons.
The cool thing about this in terms of CNN that I think, the people that are probably going to get fired at CNN, I don't believe we'll be seeing them back. And the reason is they will be too far-leaning left to return. And by that I mean their personal philosophies will be such that they won't be able to compromise those leftist philosophies.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Philosophies by reporting news unabated, absent content. You can go to our local paper, the Sacramento Bee, which still exists. And historically, there's always been the news and the op-ed page. Every story in the Sacramento Bee is the op-ed page now, as is every host on CNN. They are the op-ed page for leftists. So CNN lies, as do all the major American Media Maggot players. The Washington Post, where democracy dies in D.C. But there are two types of lies. There are outright bald, naked lies, and there are the lies of omission. And in my opinion, the lies of omission, simply flat out refusing to cover real news. For example, what I'm about to go into with Hillary Clinton's servers, with Durham, etc. We'll be getting into that. They haven't touched it. They don't want to touch it. Now, continuing on.
Part of me wants to wash your mouth out with soap for using that damn D word when speaking about DC.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love how all of these politicians and a lot of these journalists, they keep wanting to say, oh, the American democracy. And I keep asking them, show me where in the Constitution you can find the word democracy. I did just to prove a point, because I every time I mention this, I get some woke wannabe constitutional expert, probably went to the Barack Obama School of Constitutional Law, saying, oh, it clearly says we're a democracy. And I say, where? But, I'll readily admit, I'm dyslexic. I didn't grow up in the United States. I might have missed it. So I grabbed a digital copy of the Constitution and did a digital word search. The word does not exist in the Constitution. And if it doesn't exist in the Constitution, then the United States is not a democracy. It never has been. It never will be. I mean, it went from a monarchy to a republic. And now, just because the Democrats want to change it to something, but when you look at how the Democrat Party works, they don't even believe in democracy themselves. If they can't win by an election, by a fair election, they cheat. That's not listening to the will of the people, by the number of votes. And when cheating doesn't work, they tie up the Supreme Court to change things. Just, use Proposition 8 in California as an example. The whole gay community. Oh, we're going to have a vote on gay marriage. When the vote didn't go their way, when even in loony California, the land of fruits, nuts, and queers, they turned around and said, no, we don't want gay marriage recognized here. Well, they got the vote, which is what they wanted. They didn't like the results, so they go to the Supreme Court and had the will of the people, a legal democratic vote, overturned. So Democrats don't believe in democracy themselves.
No, I would agree with that. And I'm going to use it for a second in order to make reference to what you just said. And then I'm going to move on to another happy story. The problem with what people call the fall of a democracy is that it's similar to the frog in the boiling pot. It doesn't just happen overnight like a volcano. It tends to unfold in front of our eyes. It is the frog in the boiling pot. Liberties and freedoms aren't eliminated wholesale. What happened is that over time, they're restricted and they're violated until we discover one day someone wakes up and says, well, gosh, they're actually gone. The rights that we enjoy under the Bill of Rights, the things that are upheld by the Constitution, our rights, we have to understand, are given to us not by government, but by God. It's as simple as that. And so stated in our founding documents, which is the exact opposite of what leftist Demorats and the American Media Maggots and anarchists, BLM, etc., Antifa want. They want government to be the substitute for God. That's why government wants to eliminate religion, and if you think so, you're a blithering, I'm sorry. Rights are undermined. Rights are trampled. Your rights become a privilege. As I've said for quite some time, what happens is that governments steal your rights and then sell them back to you, if they deign to even sell them back to you at all. So all of this stuff, it's like you don't just stumble and hit your head and your nose starts bleeding and you wake up, where are all my rights gone? No, it's a concerted effort over quite a number of years.
And it started in the school system.
It did.
When they stopped teaching the Constitution in elementary and high schools, we've got generations of these woke idiots who really don't know what their rights are. They've got this warped idea, and anything that falls outside of the goals of the people that instructed them, were never taught. It's like those TV preachers that like to cut and paste things out of context in the Bible and then stick it together and then tell you this is the word of God. That's what has happened with teaching the Constitution in public schools in America. And it's what government is doing with the Constitution to try and make it say what they need it to say to further their agenda.
One of the things I never forgot is what Professor Michael Jones told me any number of times while he was on here. He taught constitutional law. He taught con law. He taught it the right way. But he said one of the biggest things you need to understand in terms of the way con law is taught now, Harvard, Yale, any of the big universities, they'll teach you about con law, but they will never talk to you about its history, about the history of the Constitution, the history of the Bill of Rights, and the history of law. And there is a very concerted, poignant, important reason why. Because it's all being skewed and manipulated. gosh, do I have a couple? Yeah, I got about 5 more minutes. Okay, cool. Great. Before the top of the hour break. Also, I submit this. Edmund Burke said basically, and I'm paraphrasing poorly, is the only way that terrible, bad, evil succeed.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Is when good people do nothing. And that's what you're seeing in the country. And I emphasize again and again, I have an axiom. BZ has tons of axioms. One of them is called Thug's Law. And I explained this last night to my wife. The Thug's Law is this, and I learned this on the streets. The Thug's Law is, what's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine, unless you're strong enough to stop me. Well, BC, how does that apply to America today? Easy. Any nation, America or otherwise, the United States, just like this. Things may be illegal. You may be told, oh, well, he can't do that. She can't do that. Leftists can't do that. Well, wake up. Yes, they can. Until people stop them or oppose them. Thug's Law. The United States is violating its own law at the border, at the southern border. Thug's Law. We're going to talk about Canada and tyranny. Thug's Law. We're going to talk about Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and Durham, and the FBI all wrapped into it. Maybe we'll get to it all tonight, maybe not. Thug's Law. And I should imagine, Jack Alexander, nothing like that happens down in Australia, does it?
Oh, no. Look, I have run for every branch of political office in Australia, all the way from city council up to the federal Senate, as an independent. And under Australian election laws, unless you belong to either of the three big parties, you need 10 times more signatures of support to actually get on the ballot. So where a candidate, say for city council, might need 1,000 signatures of support if you belong to the Liberal, Labor or Greens parties, if you're an independent running for city council, you need 10,000 signatures.
Wonderful.
Your division, your precinct might not have 10,000 eligible voters. But hey, and this is the sort of thing that's here. And I want to make one thing very clear with a lot of people.
Okay, 30 seconds.
The United States explains your rights. The United States Constitution says that God has endowed the people with these rights. The Australian Constitution, there is no Bill of Rights. The Constitution says that the Crown has afforded the citizens these privileges. And that is why during these lockdowns, the Australian government, and whether it be federal or state, has been able to perpetrate the levels of tyranny that continue to this day.
I'll end with this before the break. And my God, folks, an hour done already. An hour done. I'll see if I can dredge up the video of this, or the audio in this case, of Ruth Bader Ginsburg telling somebody else when they were considering the crafting of a brand new constitution, I would look to all the other constitutions except to that of the United States because it's so archaic. Right out of RBG's mouth. Not kidding. I'm BZ. That's Jack Alexander. We'll be right back after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It is he that is me.
bringing perspective from across the sea. Join me, Jack Alexander, 4 days a week for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the news and issues affecting life and liberty here in the USA. I'll show you what the mainstream media refuses to. Politics, border security, defense, healthcare, travel, nothing is off limits. Catch the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast each Monday to Thursday on Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere good podcasts can be found. Also, check out the website, www.jackalexanderexperiment.com.
Come listen to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, for the best in late-night conservatarian wireless talk radio at shrmedia.com. Raised as a free-range child with dirt and freedom, BZ is broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room at shrmedia.com. Now, with 18% more umbrage and 20% more bulbosity than previous shows, and with delicious Liberty additives. Remember, BZ realizes that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
After 6 years covering terror and corruption, the Unpleasant Blind Guy is making a change. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker and YouTube through SHR Media and on the Western Free Radio Network as I team up with Jeff Mitchell, host of the English Defense League radio show on blogtalkradio.com. Check show pages for air times. It's the Unpleasant Blind Guy.
On EBL Radio.
There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. Welcome back to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. You can listen to the show live and jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room by going to shrmedia.com. If you're on a phone or a tablet, what you do is go to shrmedia.com, go all the way, scroll all the way down to the bottom where it says View Web Version. Touch that. Then you'll go to the real honest-to-goodness SHR Media page, where from there you touch Listen Live Chat, and you'll be in our chat room. Bing, bada bing, bada boom. Just like that. Quick like a bunny. I told us before the break that RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, was not a fan of our Constitution, and people are thinking, what? Oh, really? Yes. Well, listen to what she has to say about our Constitution as she's talking to somebody else.
Aided by all the Constitution writing that has gone on since the end of World War II. I would not look to the U.S. Constitution if I were drafting a Constitution in the year 2012. I might look at the Constitution of South Africa. That was a deliberate attempt to have a fundamental instrument of government that embraced basic human rights, had an independent judiciary. It really is, I think, a great piece of work that was...
Okay, that's Ruth Bader Ginsburg telling you that she doesn't think the American Constitution, that which she is sworn to uphold, is basically worth anything. Here's the difference between the U.S. Constitution and many others. The U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights doesn't give rights and privileges to government. It basically it restricts government. It tells government what it cannot do to you. And there is an historical reason for that. Start pulling out your Constitution, start researching all of those things. Because there is, in fact, a major difference that leftists despise about the U.S. Constitution and its Bill of Rights. We continue.
It's time for happy stories and good times.
More happy stories, more good times, and then we'll get into the Clinton stuff. An hour gone already. Oh, my God. Here's a happy story. Senate GOP re-election shatters another fundraising record as midterms near. Here's another happy story. Folks, did you know that there's a congresswoman, Demorat, named Kathleen Rice, who just decided that she's going to leave the House? That's the House of Representatives. This story came out today. And what it meant was, and this is key, Long Island Demorat Kathleen Rice of New York's 4th Congressional District announced Tuesday that she will retire. This is the operative point. Becoming the 30th House Demorat to announce they will leave the House this election cycle. Jack Alexander, any thoughts?
Yay!
Yeah.
Celebrating in Long Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, look, so many of them are jumping ship, and look, rightfully so. I have to wonder how many of them are jumping ship to possibly avoid prosecutions that are likely to happen if conservatives could take control of both houses after the midterms, because a lot of people, a lot of conservatives have indicated that there is going to be a cleaning of Congress and investigations up to the wahoo to expose the levels of corruption. And I pray that they get the numbers, that they can pull this off. And while more and more Democrats keep jumping ship, it leads me to believe that is likely to be the case. They know they are going to lose. They know that they're going to lose with enough seats that they will not be able to stop the internal investigations and having to answer for the crimes and corruptions that they've committed in office. How many of these people are going to be conveniently out of the country and move to, countries where extradition might not necessarily be easy anymore?
Yeah. Mogadishu sounds like a great city. Estonia, I hear Estonia is wonderful in the summer.
Yeah, or even just to places in the Caribbean.
Sure. Beautiful waters. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, they'll go to the Caribbean, instead of to Florida, where Democrats usually go to violate their mask mandates unless there's a sporting event on,
right,
like the Super Bowl.
Right, because they're better than you are, and you are not. This is the point that I'm going to start moving and transporting us magically, mystically into something about Jim Comey and Hillary Clinton, because a major revelation was made this week. And oh my gosh, the reckoning and the possibilities that could occur. I would like to bring everybody, as a reminder, back to this.
Morning. I'm here to give you an update on the FBI's investigation of Secretary Clinton. What I want to do is
this was great.
But first, let me tell you.
This was clever.
110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains were top secret, 36 of those chains secret, and 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
Everything I did was permitted. There was no law, no regulation.
Secretary Clinton should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system, not even Gmail.
Well, first of all, nothing was marked classified. classified.
To the contrary.
Nothing was marked classified.
There is evidence.
Nothing was marked classified.
Now let me tell you what we found.
Oh my gosh.
110 emails.
It was not the best choice.
52 email chains.
It was the mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains were top secret.
Wasn't the best choice.
6 of those chains
I said it was a mistake.
8 contained confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
With respect to our recommendation, this is going to be an unusual statement in at least a couple of ways. Although there is evidence, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. What difference at this point does it make? 110 emails.
It wasn't the best choice.
52 email chains.
I made a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains were top
It was not a good choice.
6 of those chains
I said it was a mistake.
and 8 contained confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
Oh my God, that is such a beautiful classic. I love that. Jack Alexander, do you like that as well?
Yeah. Yeah, that's always a good one. Yeah, I've always wanted to know, and this is where even the more staunchest of conservatives, I think, have punked out. Whether it be, Ted Cruz or...
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.